Hi, Wendy. Hi, Nicole. Hi, Miguel. Hi, Fatima. Hi, Julia. Hi, Sandy. Oh, I haven't seen you for a while, Sandy. Hi, Connie. Hi, James. Hi, Eddie. Hi, Mahija. Awesome to see you all. Okay, James, do you want to turn your video on and say hello? There we go. Hi, James. How are you?
Yeah, hi. Sorry, I was just connecting there. And
No problem. It's good to see you, James. But yeah, it's really good to have you all. So James is here. I wanted to introduce James to myself because we actually go way back. We both used to work for Wales English. Did anyone else here work for Wales English? Raise your hand if you did. I don't think anyone else did. So James and I both started our independent teaching journeys together, basically, didn't we, James? When we all got fired together, and we've actually got a little group. It's what is it? The ex Wales English classroom little group where we've been helping each other and we connect almost daily. Just helping each other out as independent teachers, which is really, really cool. So I've asked James here today because James is a specialist in using Voov. And if you're not sure what Voov is, it's a type of classroom. So I don't want to get too much into it. I really want James to lead this. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to share my screen. I'm going to make you the co-host. And I'd love you to share with us today, James.
okay, great. Yeah. Thanks, Jess, for the opportunity to present and for the introduction. Yeah. So, just out of interest, how many of the teachers here are teaching in China?
Most of us, I think, but
Yeah.
some of us are not.
No,
You can
no.
raise your hands. Okay, where are you teaching? If you're
I'm
not, you can write it in the chat or you can
Europe.
say.
I'm
Are you
I'm
Europe,
in Japan.
Japan?
Japan.
That's where
Okay.
the seal that's where the SEALs teachers come in. Dawn. SEALs teachers, Japan.
Okay. Well, it's not such an issue, but Voov is very useful for teachers who are teaching Chinese kids in China because it's basically installed already on all the Chinese computers that use Windows. So they already have the application, they already have the program. So it's never an issue to get the students to download it and install it. Want to teach Chinese students. Okay. Well, basically, Voov is just a Chinese copy of Zoom. So it's a video conferencing program. You don't have a paid option with Voov. You can do everything for free. You don't have any limitations, regardless of how many students you have in the classroom or how many minutes you are teaching in your class. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much everything about Voov, I think. Have I missed anything, Jess?
No, I don't think so. I like that you can schedule it to an extent like Zoom, like you can actually do weekly scheduling. So, I mean, for me, if I have classes, they just pop up on the day that I'm teaching. But I'm sure you'll show that.
Yeah. So I'll share now the Voov website. One thing to note is that we all call it Voov, this the international name, but in China they'll refer to it as 10-cent meeting.
Oh yes, I've heard that.
Yeah,
That's,
so you'll
that's
see the two. If you say to Voov to the Chinese parents, they won't have a clue what you're talking about.
okay.
And even sometimes 10-cent meeting, but as soon as you send them the link, I say, oh yeah, that's the
Okay.
application.
That's exactly.
Um, yeah, so let me share my screen here. Okay, so this is the Voov website. And you can see there in the top left, you can see the two, 10-cent and Voov. Again, it's relatively easy to download. You just click on Download Center and you'll get the options for my one select in Windows. But if you have Mac, it will give you the Mac option and you install it like you would a normal program. You do need an email address or a WeChat ID as your username. It's important to remember that because it's not very obvious what you've used to register. You don't get an email if you've registered for email. And some people, when they change computers, they forget how they actually registered. Okay, so yeah, that's how you install it. Once you've installed it, you should have an application like this. Can you see that well, Jess? Because I'm
Yes,
sharing
perfect.
like a very small. So yeah, this is my Voov, my 10-cent meeting, and you can see I have all my scheduled classes already. So that will appear in my Voov and also my students' Voov. So it's a link that I send, and it's a recurring link. I never have to resend the link every week. And the students all have it, and sometimes they'll ask me again for it if they've cleared their WeChat. But I just send that link to them on WeChat. If you're teaching other countries like Japan, you could just send that via email or however you want to copy and paste it and send it to them. Okay, so yeah, I can see my schedule for this week. And if I want to make a new class, I'm going to show you how to do that now. I'm going to click on schedule. Can you see all that, Jess? Because I'm seeing it like that, right?
It's half of it. There we go. That's a bit better. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to name the class something which is memorable for me and also the students. So typically I'll just call it Ethan's class 1v1. Or I have other students, I'll think about a group, maybe depending on their level. Okay, the good thing about this, you can change it to the time. So if you're, I always get a bit confused with the time zones. So I always put it in Chinese time. So wherever they are, you can set it. Okay, it's 10 o'clock Chinese time. That will automatically update to your time zone in your Voov. So that will, to my time, that'll be what, 3 o'clock. So I set that to the time that for the kids, for the students or the adults. I'm gonna have a 1-hour meeting. I'm gonna make it recurring. So I do weekly meetings. So it's gonna be every Thursday. One important thing to do is click this where it says end on, because it automatically gives you a class for 5 weeks. So you need to click that and select an end date in 1 year's time. Because it will just disappear after 5 weeks if you don't do that. Okay, there's a couple of other settings, but basically I'm going to go down to the bottom and I see, I'm not actually seeing it right now, but I should have the option to, yeah, schedule at the bottom. So I click schedule and it's giving me the meeting ID, very similar to Zoom. I'm going to click copy all and I'm going to paste that into my WeChat or my email. Okay, and then that's the link for the class every week. So regards scheduling, I don't need to do anything other than that. I'm going to now open a classroom and show you how the interface looks. So I've set this up with Jess. It's kind of strange, Jess, because I can see like a small screen.
I know. I'm not sure why that is. Usually, even when I present, I know that my whole screen. So it might be. Oh,
There
it's
we
just
go.
gone bigger. It's just gotten bigger. That's good. We can see the whole of your Voov screen now.
I can't see him.
Yeah, that's perfect. Now, do I need to go into Voov with you? I don't think so, because my video won't work. James, your microphone is off in Voov. I don't know if that's affecting you in here, but I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So yeah, this is the basic interface. Most of this is pretty self-explanatory, but I do want to talk about share screen today and also the different views. So you can see down the bottom, you have the bar where you can start your video, you can share screen, you can invite other people, see who the people are in the classroom, record the class also, which is very useful. Because if I often do that when I have one kid, if I've got a group class, I have one kid who's sick that day, I'll record the class and I'll send it to them. And I charge the same rate for that.
Good.
And that's part of my policy. So if you can't make it, we'll record the class for you, and you don't get too many complaints usually. You can see if you have group classes, you have the breakout rooms, which is very similar to Zoom. In the apps, you have a few apps. You have filters I don't really use. The break is quite useful because I do this while I'm waiting for the class. It's just a little countdown to tell them class begins in 5 minutes. So
I have never used that before. That's amazing.
I do that if I arrive early, and it just tells them. And if I have kids, sometimes they do the countdown. 5, 4, 3. I also use in apps the timer.
Why?
So you can see on the bottom left, I have a timer. So sometimes I give them talk together for a minute, or you have a minute to describe this picture. And they'll see how long they've got. If you look at the top right, I'm not sure, Jess, can you see my cursor?
Yeah, it's grid view right now. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is an interesting, it's quite an important part of Voov because it shows you how everyone is presented. Sometimes it goes to speaker view. So with speaker view, you just have one camera on the screen. So the teacher speaks and the student speaks, the teacher disappears. So you do need to make it the 5x5 grid, just so that you can see everybody. That's particularly important when you start sharing your screen. Okay, so I'll go into screen sharing now. So if I go to the bottom toolbar, I can click on the button share screen. Okay, and I'm gonna see, if I click on desktop 1, it's very similar to Zoom. I'm gonna share everything on my computer. Or I can choose just one tab, like one Chrome or one tech. Generally, I do the Oxford Discover, which is one of the books I teach. I use the bookshelf, the presentation pack. So I'm going to click on share PC audio here because I want them to hear the videos and the audios. And I'm going to go into share, and this gives me my screen, which is now shared with the students. So one feature of Voov, very similar to Zoom, is at the top right, you see the button annotate. Okay, so I'm gonna click on annotate. It's gonna open another toolbar, which I can then.
You can't see.
I can't see it.
Frozen.
Sorry.
Yeah, we can't see.
You can't see the annotation bars?
No.
No.
The other thing is, if you want to, because it's allowing up to 300 people, if you want to share your Zoom link, classroom link, we could meet you in there and see it from the kids' perspective. I don't know if that would work.
what if I,
Yeah, we can see that.
Something's happened
That's better.
now.
yeah,
We can
okay.
see that.
Okay, so yeah, so I've got this toolbar which is always there. On the top right of that toolbar, I see annotate. Okay, so if I click this button, it's going to allow me to add another layer over the layer that I currently have, both me and the students. Okay, so the pen I can write, students can write.
Wow. Okay.
I can change color. I can write a text.
Okay.
Okay, I can draw like a square or circle, triangles. The spotlight is something I use a lot because I've got kids in my class, or I've got adults. I want them to read a page apart, so I spotlight it, and I'll move it as they're reading. So you can play many kinds. And it's a very good way to direct their attention to where you want them to be. Okay, with the eraser.
We have got some questions in the chat, James, just to let you know.
16, I see. So yeah, do you want to go ahead with it, Jess?
I've got Christina saying, is it possible to set up Voov to start recording automatically when you start the lesson?
You can't do that with the free version.
No, I haven't done that with Voov.
You need to go with the Pro Voov to do that. It gives you another, it's like a business. They have that for companies, for big companies. But no, you can't do that from the free version.
Thanks, James. I haven't done that myself either, that I can think of automatically, but I just record it manually. Is it possible to make someone the co-host and then leave the meeting so that the meeting can continue?
Yeah, actually, sometimes I'm the first one to leave, and it asks you who you want to assign as the host. And if the kids, if you send your link and the kids are in there before you, they'll be the host.
I've had kids before who are like year 5 and they love to chat afterwards when I'm gone, and I just leave them to it. Yeah. We've got another question. Does it automatically put your classes on their calendars? Now, I saw there was a way that you can link it to your Outlook, but for them, it automatically comes up on their Tencent meeting schedule, but I don't know if it goes on their calendars. I'm guessing they can do that.
They can sync to Outlook, which if they're using Windows, they should have that. Most of the Chinese are using Windows, so they do have Word, PowerPoint, all of those things. So they should have Outlook. Whether they use it or not, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know either. I'm guessing they do because, they turn up on time and yeah. I find my Chinese students are really consistent. They always turn up on time. I don't even have to tell them to set reminders. My UK kids are not like that, but my Chinese kids are always on time and they're always usually very consistent. Okay, we've got a question here. I don't know the answer to this. I'd have to look it up. Do you know how much the pro version of Voov costs, James?
No. No, I'm
either.
not. Sorry, I don't know the answer to that. But I've been using the free version for like 4 or 5 years now.
Yeah, me too. I've felt like I've needed to upgrade to Pro. Let's have one more question and then we'll let James continue, and we can always come back to questions in a second. So the last question is it possible to have a waiting room like we do in Zoom so that you only let the kids inside manually?
Yeah, you can do that.
Thanks.
You can set that when you go into the schedule, you can have a waiting room.
In the schedule, yeah. Perfect. Thanks, James.
Okay, yeah. So as I was saying, the spotlight is very useful. This button clear, it clears everything that's on the page. and you can clear just your own annotations or just the students' annotations. I'm surprised this wasn't a question. Can you turn off annotations for the students? Yeah, you can. So you click this button and they cannot draw on the page anymore. Okay, because some of them get a bit carried away, should we say, with scribbling and yeah. So something I do a lot with the annotation tool is I get them to cooperate together in what is known as collaborative learning. So collaborative learning, this one is already done, but if I have, say, Ethan and Chloe, I'll say, Ethan, can you write the answer for number 1? Chloe, you do number 2. And I'll see Ethan is writing here, usually very slowly. And it's a good way to get them active at the same time. And I'll say to Chloe, did Ethan make a mistake? And she'll look and they collaborate together to finish the tasks. And I'm doing very little. I'm not being very active, but the kids or the adults are interacting a lot with the class, which is one of the benefits of this online learning. So something I do, okay, well, there's a lot of other features that I don't want to get into just yet. Because I want to talk a little bit about the limitations and the benefits, because there's quite a few limitations with Voov. You don't have, like with Koala Go, you don't have this interaction that the student has where they can move things around the screen, like the co-browser. You don't have the virtual, is it the virtual playground they call it in?
Yeah.
Okay, you don't have anything like that. So possibly for younger learners, this wouldn't be suitable. It works very well for collaborative learning, where the students can type their answers, generally for teenagers or adults. But the benefits, I mean, you can see them. It's a very good copy of Zoom. So everything you want to use for your video conferencing, you can use it with Voov. And of course, the best benefit is that it's absolutely free, and it seems like it doesn't seem like they're going to charge in the future. Okay, because I remember when Zoom had their free and they changed their system and they kicked you out after 40 minutes. Another big benefit is that all of the students from China have this program. It's a Chinese program. So if there's going to be any restrictions in the future, it's not going to be with this program, because they're
Can I
not going
bring up something that happened this year, James? I
Yeah,
don't know
sure.
if you remember the chatter about it, but I was using Zoom and I got, like, my Chinese students couldn't access Zoom. Like, they got restricted. So the Chinese government basically restricted Zoom for about a week. And it happened to Koala Go as well. I don't know about other platforms, but because Voov is a Chinese-based platform, it doesn't ever get restricted. So even if you decide not to use Voov as your primary classroom, it's always good to know how to use Voov, because if you want to use Koala Go, if you want to use Zoom or whatever platform you want, if it's not a Chinese-based classroom like Voov, you know, if you're kicked out, you can just say, let's meet on Voov quickly now, and you don't lose that income for that class. Because I know a lot of teachers who are with Koala Go or with Zoom for a week, they couldn't teach, and that was their income gone. Like, you can't pay for a class if you can't teach it. So it's really good to know this as a backup classroom.
Yeah, it's a very good backup. It's sometimes I've forgotten, or the link that I had expired, and it was like 2 minutes before the classroom, big panic, and I quickly sent the link on WeChat, and they were in the classroom after like 10 seconds.
And then you can extend the class. If it's 2 minutes late, you just say, well, I'll extend the class for 2 minutes. No big deal, right? Yeah.
Okay, I saw a couple of questions in the chat. If anybody else has any questions, I think it was Alana. Wait, Chris, Nicholas, your latency. Okay, how much does it cost? Alana A says, if you make them a co-host, could you both play something like Word Wall together? It depends what you mean by play. If you want them to be pressing the buttons, they cannot press the buttons because it's not a co-browsing platform. But yeah, does that answer your question? Okay. Christina, if I've missed the first 5 minutes and I'd like to see how to do schedule, and yeah, Jess, you started the recording, right?
Yeah. So the recording will be uploaded into the course after this. Yeah.
Nicola, have you ever received latency problems, network unstable? Yeah, Nicole. I get that sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't depend on me. It depends on the students. It sounds a bit strange to say, but I had one kid in one Chinese city. I had some problems with the class. I tried to leave, come back, and I kept getting the message network unstable. And I was running downstairs, changing my router. I've got 1 terabyte supposedly. But the next class I had, no issues whatsoever from another city in China. So sometimes you get that message. You can do the hacks, the Voov hacks, like leave the classroom, go back in. But generally speaking, not so much. I get that message maybe once every 2 months.
Okay, I've got
Christina.
a really good question here, James, and it's one that is going to link to Super Teacher because Ivy's going to join us shortly and she's going to share with us how to use Super Teacher. But basically, they're asking, is it possible to get one Voov link for one class and use that link for every single person, for every single class? Yeah.
Yeah, so that works the same way as your Zoom personal meeting. So you've got your Zoom personal meeting, you send that to every kid, every parent or every student. Yeah, you can do that. You might have some students coming in to the wrong class, but at the end. Christina, is it possible to get one? Yeah, okay, yeah, good. I've just seen that. Mahendra. Okay, sorry to hear this. To schedule in advance all classes which have. Christina, yes. Yeah. Yeah, let me. Christina was the one that missed the beginning, right?
Yeah, you can quickly show her that
Yes.
because there might be
Yes,
other
that's me.
features.
Okay, Christina.
Don't stress.
This is basically my schedule that I don't actually have it connected to any calendar. But when you click on schedule, okay, I do it in Chinese time. This is the waiting room that someone else asked about.
Ah, okay.
Okay. You can connect it to Outlook if you press that button.
Okay.
I don't do it because
It does say other calendars, so I'm assuming that they can also have the opportunity to link it to whatever calendar that they want.
yeah. And when you click on schedule, then you get the link and it says sync to calendar. So you can sync it to whatever calendar, to your Microsoft
Just move
calendar.
it to the right a bit. We can't read it on your
You
screen.
want to Google Calendar?
To
There
Google
you go.
Calendar, yes. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Oh, and I can schedule in one link, which I have for one class. I can schedule all the lessons for that class, like the ongoing on every week.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Looks great. I
Can you
will.
press sync? Sorry, I was going to say, if you press sync to calendar, I'm sure it will come up like all the different calendars.
Yeah. Schedule. I'm gonna make it my
Default.
sync to calendar.
Calendar.
Yeah, so
Okay,
these
so
are
you have whatever.
the
Ah,
calendars I've got on my computer. Outlook calendar. So it looks like it has to be something that you've installed on your computer.
But I'm sure it can be any calendar for you, and I'm sure it would work for the Chinese parents. It is very similar to Zoom in that way.
Yeah. Yeah, they just copied Zoom as close as they could
Groovy.
with Voov, but I like the application. I like the app. It's a good one. It does have some limitations. Sometimes the students don't see the grid. So the students often say to me, "Teacher, when you're not speaking, you disappear." So you have a bit of a challenge. You need to explain technically how to change that to someone who may not speak English very well.
Mm.
And
So
how do
something
we?
I try and do is get a screenshot and with a picture, and I save those. I wonder if I've got one, but basically you can bring that up. Or I mean, I used to have a piece of paper in Chinese, written in Chinese, printed in my desk, so that if they needed to turn their sound up or do something, I would literally hold it up for them to read in Chinese.
Yeah,
Well,
when you start, you have a few teething issues with it. The students don't know where the pen is. You have to kind of guide them. So sometimes I'm pointing to the bottom right of the screen. Say, do you have the pen? No, teacher. Look down here. Yeah, and also depends on the device they're using. So the iPad interface is very different to the Windows one.
Oh my word.
Okay, is there any other
yeah,
questions?
any more questions? Because we want to wrap this up, and I want to introduce you to Ivy, who's going to show us how to use Voov or Koala Go, and put that into a scheduling tool and an invoicing tool. So you can use Voov, you can use Koala Go, and you can link that up to the scheduling and payment tool that Ivy's got. So let's have, if there's any more questions for James, we'll take them now. Otherwise, I'll introduce Ivy. Oh, Nicole's just shared something with us. Thanks, Nicole. How to annotate on Voov. It looks like it's a PDF guide. Thanks, Nicole. I'll download that and I can put that into the course. Okay. Any other questions?
I have a question. Is it possible to schedule another meeting than my personal meeting room? I'm never sharing that in Zoom. So to schedule like a class meeting, a recurring meeting, is possible?
Yes. Yeah, you can schedule unlimited number of meetings for each particular class, which are recurring every week or every month.
I just schedule one link and I put it like very far in the future so that they can join every time with the same link. So
Exactly. Yeah.
the same for the class. Okay, because I never share my personal meeting room link with students. So I heard somewhere that is not good. I don't know why, but I heard that is not I don't know, it's not recommended.
Yeah. So you get a link, and I just copy and paste that link into WeChat for my Chinese students.
And do you have to create an account and have like a Wove account for starting using it? I missed the 5 minutes in the beginning, so yeah.
You just need an email address to register, or you can register with a telephone number or with your WeChat.
And it should not be a Gmail, yeah? Probably.
You can use Gmail, no problem.
Ah, okay. Perfect. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Okay, great. Well, James, thank you so much for joining us today. I know you have got a company of your own where you do some training. If you want to share about that for just 1 or 2 minutes, if you have a Facebook group or if there's any way for people to contact you, you're welcome to share that.
Yeah, so I have a training on my website. It's a self-paced course with Voov. If you're interested, it's like an introduction to Voov. It's 5 lessons, so it's like a 5-week if you take it week by week course. And because you're on this course, you qualify for a 50% discount on that. Also, if you have any questions about any personal issues that you're having, then feel free just to reach out to me, and I can answer that quickly for you.
Awesome. Do you have a link that you want to put in the chat? Otherwise, what I'll do is I'll upload that into the course as well.
I don't have the link on me, but I'll send it to you after.
I'll grab it from you. Perfect. Thank you, James. That's so awesome. Thank you so much for sharing with us today. Okay, awesome. Thanks, everyone. Cheers, cheers. Thanks for everything. Great to have you all. Cheers, everyone. Bye, bye, bye.